Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking my channel. My name is Ciara LaShawn, and today I'm talking about my experience in imacademy. This is probably one of my more vulnerable videos. A lot of you who come to my channel, you know I talk about breastfeeding, I talk a lot about motherhood, but today I'm talking about my experience in this company, which is an MLM that I had no idea. I didn't even know it was an MLM when I first joined. I pray that you guys are very understanding of what I'm going to talk about in this video. I know it's hard for me to even talk about it because this was like a really weird time of my life because I was going so hard for this company, but I was also very deceived in this company, and I took so long to talk about it because it's just hard. You know, it's a lot of healing that has to go on in the inside, and I'm going to explain why. A lot of people ask me for these videos, and I feel like I do owe it to my subscribers, but I also owe it to my family and friends because I dragged a lot of you guys into this. I invited a lot of you guys into this, and you probably experienced, maybe not to the length or the depth of just the hurt that I experienced, because I got really deep into it, but I think that nobody got into this company and didn't leave feeling like WTF. And there's a lot of regret on my part of why of what I feel, because I invited people into something that I thought was going to be good, and I genuinely thought it was going to be good. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. And because I was asked by so many people to start these videos or to share my experience, I'm going to do maybe a few videos about this. So subscribe to my channel if this is something that you're interested in, so that you can see the video, see my experience, and understand my heart and understand where I'm coming from. But this is gonna be the first video, and I'm just gonna do a quick overview, maybe not that quick, I don't know how long this is gonna be, but I'm gonna do an overview of my experience, and you can take from it what you want, but it's just gonna be a general video, and then I'm gonna do more detailed videos on my channel, so just stay connected to my channel for that. Let's get started. So I joined imacademy in April, the last day of April. It was April 30th 2020. So this was right in the heat of COVID, and it's crazy because so many people were so in MLM, so into these get rich quick schemes. Y'all probably saw the Cash App scams, the Cash App money things that everybody was doing. That was really popular during that time because it was a vulnerable time for everybody. So many people were losing their jobs, so many people weren't able to work, so people had to get money, and myself included. I was a gymnastics coach before COVID happened, and then nobody's bringing their kid to gymnastics, so I'm not even able to go to work. I'm not able to work because COVID. So I started trading in the stock market that January, and this was before COVID really hit and changed my job, changed my life. But my experience in the stock market is important in my trading experience in Forex because it's just a part of my story, and this is my story, so I'm going to tell it how it happened. So I started trading in the stock market around December, January. I was really profitable. I don't even know what I was doing, but I was making hundreds of dollars a week, and I thought that was really good. I was like, oh my gosh, I just made $200 this week. That's really good. So I continued to learn how to trade in the stock market. Eventually I learned how to trade options. So in March, I believe it was March, is when I went on spring break, and I went to visit Dante because he was also on spring break at his school. So I went to Emory, he went to Embry-Riddle. So I went to visit him for my spring break. That's when COVID really hit, because while I was on spring break, Emory sent out an email, said we're not returning back to school. President Trump said he's canceling all flights or whatever. So that everything was shut down, basically. The world shut down. Dante and I, we had to learn how to make money somehow, because here we are, two broke college students who can't work because COVID, and he has an apartment that he has to pay for. His apartment's right by the beach in Daytona Beach. I tell him about options trading, and we get really good at it. And if you know anything about options, you make money when the market goes up or when it goes down. You just have to call the shots, right? So we were making a boatload of money, money that we've never seen before in our lives, lots of money from options trading. So we were feeling on top of the world with trading. We were waking up in the morning, learning, watching YouTube videos, learning learning new skill sets, opening up the charts. I mean, we were growing so fast into this, and we had a friend who actually talked to us about Forex, and she did Forex. And so Dante, he decided to join her group. I'm giving y'all like the quick rundown. He decided to join her Forex group because, well, we were traders. So we thought, well, it's just another form of trading. We trade in the stock market. Let's learn how to trade in the Forex market. So Dante went and joined her imacademy group. I'm not going to tell his story, but I know that like from his experience, he did think that it was like kind of, I don't want to say ghetto, but like, you know, like if you know anything about some of these Forex people, it was just not like the professional stock market experience that we thought that it would be. But it wasn't the stock market, and it wasn't with professionals, which is something that we didn't know at the time. But we're thinking these are professionals who are in imacademy and that we're like connecting with other trade professionals, but we weren't. So he's in this group, and I decided I wasn't going to join because he wasn't having a really good experience. So I just kind of watched him from the outside to see what Forex was like, what imacademy was like, and I would use his login to like learn different ways to trade the Forex market, the basics. But I didn't involve myself in like the MLM aspect, and believe it or not, like we didn't even know what MLM was at the time. Never heard of an MLM before, didn't even know what that was. We just were in this group and we weren't interested in sharing it with other people. He definitely wasn't interested in that, and I was just kind of the supportive girlfriend. Like, okay, you know, let me use your login to learn how to trade. You don't have to talk to those people, because he was not into the community aspect, because he learned really quickly that those people who were in that community were not professionals. So he was in that group for maybe like a month, and then I saw someone that was hosting like a women's like motivational call or whatever, and I said, that sounded really cool. Like that sounded like someone wanted to join, and I DM'd her and I asked her if I could join the call. I had no idea it was like a Forex thing, an MLM thing. I just thought it was a women's motivational call. It was called Beauty and the Beast or something like that, Beauty and Beast. I was like, I want to join that because it sounded really good. So I DM'd her, asked her for the login info, and she sent it to me, the Zoom info, and she sent it to me, and I hopped on. And y'all, when I tell you that call was so amazing, it was so good. And they weren't really saying anything about IM or about Forex. It was really more so spiritual. It was so good. They were quoting Bible scriptures. I mean, they were preaching. I mean, it was so good to the point like I was tearing, like I was crying. So like they had another women's event. I think it was another like Beauty and the Beast call like the next night, and so I got on. It was really weird because these were all at midnight. So now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like another cult tactic, which she might not have even known that she was doing this, but this is a cult tactic to have people stay up really late because their minds are more vulnerable. These calls started at midnight. They didn't start at 10 o'clock. They didn't start at 8 o'clock. They didn't start at 9 o'clock. They started at midnight. I hopped on, I think, for 3 days every night, and just such good calls, right? They really were. She's an amazing speaker, very anointed. I won't take that from her. She would post on her social media that she was having a mentorship and that she was sponsoring some people's trade accounts with her mentorship. And so I'm like, I know that IM is a little ratchet because Dante was in it, but I was like, but this girl, she's like so inspiring. Maybe it's not so bad. I'll join her group. I'll give it a shot with her. I messaged her. I applied for her mentorship because she had this mentorship. I applied, got in. Y'all, everybody gets in. It's like so dumb that we had people apply because everybody always gets in. So I don't even know why we did that, but like that was how I became an imacademy. Like I messaged her, she sent me the link to register or to apply for her mentorship. I applied, wrote a whole essay, y'all, an essay for this mentorship, and it's so crazy that like I had to talk about like the cult aspects of this, because from the inside and from someone who got to a decent level in the company, a decent rank in the company, I also did the very same thing as her. I literally did everything she did, actually, because that's what they teach you, is to duplicate. And I duplicated everything, and I had people write essays too. I had people write paragraphs. I had people tell me why they wanted to join my business or join my mentorship. Everyone always got accepted. I didn't care what your essay said. It was more so for that person to know that this is a commitment. So it's like if you write an essay for something, you're committed to something, and that's really the whole point of it, which is very like sneaky. So I joined her group and I started like really trying to learn the very basics. I mean, the very basics. There wasn't really a whole lot of education taught. So basically when you get an IM, they give you like an introduction of courses. So you have courses on the actual platform, which when people say is IM Academy a scam, I will say that in a scam as in when they tell you that you'll get trading education, no, it's not a scam, because you do get trading education. They actually do have people who are qualified. I don't know how qualified, but they do have people who they have some sort of qualification process. And some of those people are really decent traders. They teach you how to trade. So I can't say that you don't learn how to trade if you don't try to learn how to trade. I wouldn't say that about IM. Now there are some other like really creepy parts about it, really scammy parts about IM, but learning how to trade, if you want to just get the education, that you get what you pay for. However, you can also learn how to trade on YouTube. So I don't know if it's really necessary spending $335 a month to learn something that you can learn on YouTube. But they're not lying when they say that they do have trading education. There's other scammy parts though. There's other weird parts to it, but that's not one of them. So I'm learning the basics, and we have calls every day. So I quickly learned that this is not something that you can do on the side, because that's how they market it, and they tell you like this is just like a side thing that you can do, like you can live your life. You can still, Dante and I, we were trading in the stock market, and we were living our best lives before the world shut down, right? Before the world shut down, we were going out to eat and just letting our money, just had our phones on the table and just letting the money collect, you know, letting our options do their thing. But with Forex, when we joined IM, we had to constantly be on somebody's call, and we had this thing in our specific group where you had to be on calls at 12, 3, 5, and 9. I still remember it because it was drilled into our head. 12, 3, 5, 9, 12, 3, 5, 9, 12 o'clock, 3 p.m. 5 p.m., 9 p.m. Those were our times. And then usually they would also have another call at 11. So think about it. That's your whole day. 12, 3, 5, 9. And they want you on every single call. Even if you're at work, they want you on the call. I got really deep into it really fast because that's how they do you. And it's COVID, so there's really nothing else for you to do. And so if you're not on a call, first of all, they're going to call you and say, why aren't you on a call? So I talked to my leader all the time, and the person who I joined under, and she made sure that I was getting on all these calls, and the calls were supposed to help you. The one at 12 was always an introduction trading. The one at 3 was usually a trading, like, what is it called? Like a trading protection call, training Zoom. So it's really like telling you how to not blow your account, right? How to minimize your losses. 5 sometimes is a strategy, I guess. And I forgot. So there's also a 7 p.m. call, but it wasn't part of 12, 3, 5, 9. 7 is opportunity call. That's when we introduced the program to other people. So they expected you to get on that, even though like I would just have joined the company. I was expected to be on all of those calls. And then the 9 p.m. call was, I guess, some sort of motivational call. I can't remember, but it was like so many motivational calls, so much like just fluff, right? But they wanted you on every single call, every single day, even if it was the same call every single day. I do think that that's also a part of like a cult tactic, because they're becoming your world. And that's literally what happened. I had no intentions of building a business, creating a business, or being that deep in IM. But because I was on these calls so much, it quickly became like my world. I think maybe after a week of being in the business, one of my leaders called me and asked if I wanted to share the business with other people. And I had made money. So they were like, well, you made money, so like you should share it with other people. I made money trading, but I also was a trader. So I didn't know everything about Forex, but like I also had some sort of idea of the market. But they were like, you made money, so now you should invite more people. So I was like, okay, you're right, I made money. So I decided to start promoting it on my social media, and lo and behold, people started messaging me. I never had to slide in anyone's DMs, believe it or not. Everyone always like slid in my DMs, and they were just interested in business because I was promoting like my results, and some of my results were actually my results from trading in the stock market. I was just posting my results, and it made me seem like an expert in trading. So people trusted me to join this group. And one of my leaders said, you don't have to invite like everybody. All you need are 2 people and you'll have your free membership, so you don't even have to worry about paying for this membership ever again. You can learn for free, learn everything you want for free. And so I took her up on that offer and I signed up some people. I signed up my first 2 people. They're like, okay, now you got to sign up one more person, because if you sign up one more person, you start getting paid by the company. And so like that's kind of how they do it. Like, so they kind of like tell you to do one thing, and then once you do that one thing, it's like, okay, but do more. Like, it's never good enough. And so I signed up for somebody else, and next thing you know, you just kind of start falling into the hype because it's what's all around you. You're on these calls every single day, all day long. So it's kind of impossible to not be on these calls and not be influenced to start to grow the business. And then not only are you on these calls throughout the day, but your leaders are actually calling you. So like I would get calls from my leaders in between 12, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 p.m. calls. And sometimes we had 8 a.m. calls. I mean, it's crazy. So like they would call me personally and be like, hey, we didn't see you on the training, or hey, I saw you on that training. So it's like you're constantly in this, and then you get congratulated for like the smallest things, right? So you'll get congratulated or you'll get condemned, and it just kind of motivates you to like try harder, get deeper, get to the next level. And that's really how I started getting to the next level and everything. So it didn't take long for me to like rise up in the ranks in the company, and I'll save you the details, spare you the details. Basically, my first 2 weeks I became a platinum 150, which was the first rank, which means that you got 3 people to join the business. And then I think after like my first month, maybe I got platinum 600. In my second month, I got platinum 1000. Third month, I got platinum 2000. In 3 months, I was at platinum 2000, which means I was making $2,000 a month from the company. And I had that means you had like 75 people in your business, I think. But me personally, I had over 100 people in my business. So I was like zooming through this. I was feeling the hype. Like, I love the hype. I love the hype of every time getting like that cute flyer with your rank on it, with your pretty picture on it. I loved it. I loved the hype. I loved like the community that I grew up, made a lot of friends. So it was like a whole community, and it's almost like a whole new world. And I don't think that people realize, I didn't even realize this about my MLM, but like it is a whole new world. You have people who are famous, who are celebrities in IM. You have people who are like gods, and I hate to say that, but they're like gods to the company. So you're in this whole community. It's not something that you can separate from the real world. It becomes so delusional so fast because that's all you know every single day. Like my sister, who was 8 actually when I was in it, she would always want to play with me, and I'm over here on calls all the time. I was forsaking family time. I was forsaking friend time. I was forsaking relationships. Like I literally made Dante leave my best friend. Now remember, I told you that he joined IM first before me, and he joined with my best friend in her business. I literally had him leave her business to join mine, which wasn't my best part of my life, but like looking back on it, it also wasn't that big of a deal because we were all just in this really shady situation. Sorry y'all, my camera died, so I had to film on my phone, but like this is too good not to film. So we were all in this like super shady situation. I lost a friend, to be honest. Like I lost a friend whose wedding I was in, whose husband ended up passing away like 2 years later. So it was like a really, really tough blow. But like I'll talk more about that probably in another video. But like I lost that friend because I had Dante leave her business to join mine. And I just really started building my business with any and everybody I could, family members. I really turned into this person who I'm so ashamed of. And like even to this day, like still ashamed of and still really regret everything that I did. And Dante and I both, like he began to rise up in the ranks, and it also just created this crazy pride because we grew so fast in the business. Like I said, within my first 3 months, I was at platinum 2000, which is not that common for people to reach that. There are people who are in the business for 2 years who hadn't even reached that rank, and I reached it in my first 3 months. So I was building fast and I was very prideful. And like I remember I talked to one of Dante's cousins and I was like, I'm gonna see him at the cookout and I'm gonna be wearing my Louis Vuitton sweatsuit. So prideful for what? But like the business makes you feel like you are so on top of the world when you're reaching these different ranks, and it's so much that goes on behind the scenes though. And that's why I wanted to start like talking about in my videos, not all of them, but like some of them is like talking about what really went on behind the scenes, not like sharing personal other people's business, but like my own business. And for me, I was taught to be the biggest flex, and my leaders were big flexes. I was a big flex. The people I worked with were big flexes. Like we were flexing something that wasn't even real. And then we also dealt with so much cult mentality to where I even go on to say like basically bullied, because there were certain things that I couldn't attend or didn't attend because we were in the height of COVID. So there's stuff like it's deeper than what's on the surface for me and for people who are like in higher leadership. And I am like, when you were just maybe a platinum 150, or maybe you didn't rank at all and you just tried it, and then after the first month you were like, oh, I can't afford this, I'm done. But like for those of us who really invested a lot of time into it, you saw a lot, because I was on all the calls. I was working, I actually used to lead calls. So like something else like I didn't mention is like once I became, I believe, a platinum 600, that's when I started leading calls. So I had only been in the business for 1 month and I became a mentor, calling myself a mentor, calling myself a teacher, teaching courses, teaching classes about trading. And I had only been in the business for a month. So there's a problem with that. And that was I am though. And that's like what's so dangerous though about the company is like I said, it's not quote unquote a scam, because you're gonna learn some stuff, but the company itself, like the tactics are very culty and very much not, what's the word, like integrous, I guess. Like there's not a lot of integrity that happens within the business, and they teach us not to be that integrous. One of my favorite leaders, I won't name him, but one of my favorite leaders in the company, like when I was in it, he said, when somebody asks you how much money you make, they about to pop 6 figures. He said, don't tell them, like, because we know you ain't making no money, but don't tell people that. Just tell people you about to pop 6 figures, because you got to speak it into existence. You got to believe it. My leader, he used to always say, believe the lie, believe the lie. And that is where I think me and Dante and I, we lost so much money, because we really were believing the lie, and we were dragging other people into believing this lie that was so detrimental to our finances. Dante almost was evicted. I mean, there's so much that goes into this. It's not just about, oh, we had a bad experience in the company because we didn't have results. We had results. That's not it. We had results. We were building, we were making money in the business. But then what happens is the call aspect, where you have to call people every single day, everyone in your business. I had over 100 people in my business, and I was expected to call these people every single day. Imagine calling 100 people every single day, and imagine being that other person on the receiving line who's getting a call from this girl every single day telling them to get on a training. These are people who work. These are people who are parents. And I had turned into a person because of the leadership that I had. And also I'm taking accountability for myself, because I really listened to them. I didn't have to, but like I became a person who didn't care about excuses. So I didn't want to hear anyone's excuse. I'm like, if you want this bad enough, you're going to be on the call. I don't care if you're working. I had someone who worked at a bank who I expected to be on every single call. Why? I was crazy. That's why. I was so brainwashed in this thing, and it's actually very, very, very sad. And so when it comes down to like why I left, and I'll do another video on this, but like the cult moments, the moments of my leaders just treating me wrong sometimes, like there would be times where my leaders would basically shun me if I couldn't do a training. Let's say I couldn't do a training or I didn't make a call, then I'm not gonna be called, I'm not gonna be spoken to for weeks sometimes. So it was like that shunning, like as a punishment. Also, I've been ridiculed in front of people. I have been called out in front of people. I have had leaders talk bad about me for not going to a event that was in the height of COVID. I didn't show up. I qualified for a trip, and everybody kept saying, you don't miss trips that you qualify for. And I qualified for a trip and I missed it because of COVID. It was a trip to LA, I believe it was Los Angeles, and I didn't go. I bought the plane ticket. Mind you, it's crazy. I had to buy my plane ticket. So we talk so much about people making money and going on these free trips. The trip, they call it a free trip, but it wasn't a free trip. I still had to pay for my plane ticket. What was free was the Airbnb. And the Airbnb obviously wasn't going to be that much when you are fitting 50 people in one house, because that's what they did. So of course it you're fitting 50 people in one house. So you're not spending a whole lot of money at the end of the day. I mean, especially if these are people who are saying that they're like so freaking rich, like people who are making 50K a month. These are like the highest leaders in the company. They're making like 50K a month or 10K a month, whatever it is. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna fly these people out to LA and I'm gonna, you know, give them an all expense paid trip, which nobody paid for my ticket. I had to pay for my own plane ticket. Lost that money because it's COVID, and I didn't go because there's some people in my family who are vulnerable. Dante's one of them, me too. I have high blood pressure. He has asthma. My sister has asthma. So I couldn't go on this trip, and I was called by one of my leaders multiple times. Actually, he blew up my phone. He blew up Dante's phone. He was blowing up other people who were connected to our phone and having them call me. I mean, it was crazy. I was being hunted down because I didn't go on this trip. And then even when I finally talked to him, he was like, you have no faith. You call yourself a Christian, but you're not a Christian because you have no faith. I mean, it was just really bad. And God bless him, because he was a friend before I even joined this Forex group or imacademy. He's actually someone I knew personally and I do love, but I know that like he was also deceived and in a really dark place himself. But that type of stuff was really damaging on me, and it's like culty. Like that's part of the reason why I left, because you're a cult. Like it's so much, like there's so much mind control, but also you are forcing me to do something that is against like health standards. Like I'm not gonna drink the Kool-Aid. I'm not going to go to a coronavirus house. This is 2020. I'm talking about, I think this was August or September of 2020. And you're telling me that you're flying like 50 of us to people I never even met, because this is also the whole time I've been in the business was via Zoom. So these are people I don't know what they do in their day-to-day lives. And you want us to stay at a house, all of us, in the height of COVID. It did not make sense, all because you thought that it would be good photo ops. Like literally that's what he said. He was like, you're missing these photo opportunities, you're missing these learning opportunities, we're gonna have guest speakers. And I called one of my line sisters who was actually in my business. I had invited her, my business, I quotes, it's not really a business, but I invited her, I called her. And, you know, she knew about the trip because she was in my business. So she had heard about it. She's a nurse. And so I got like the best advice. She said, to be honest, I mean, you really don't have to go. You probably shouldn't. There are people in your family who have these health issues. And I myself had health issues. So she just reiterated that to me. But she also said, Ciara, I mean, if you're just going for photos, you can take pictures at your house. Like my parents have a nice house. I don't want to sound ultra privileged, but like my parents had a nice house, so it wasn't like that was a pull for me. Like my parents have a pool. If I need to take a picture at a pool, I could take pictures at my parents' house at their pool and flex. I don't have to flex at your pool in LA. Motivational speaker, my line sister said, they're having all these people who are like big in the company, they give these motivational speeches, but like Ciara, you can easily go on YouTube and find those same speakers or somebody else for motivation. So really, why risk your health? Why risk your family's health? And that was a turning point for me. Like literally, I was on the phone with her on the way to the airport. I made it to the airport. I actually was at the departure gate, and Dante's like, I don't think you should do this. We were in the car and we turned right back around and we headed to my parents' house, because my parents, Dante told on me, he called my parents and he said, Ciara has me driving her to the airport because she's going to LA and y'all need to talk some sense into her. He told on me, and they told him to bring me to their house. My dad said, bring her home. And the rest was history. I went home. My leader calls me, blowing me up, blowing Dante up. Not just him though, the whole team. A lot of people on the team were calling us, DMing me, DMing us. I mean, it was really crazy. And then even my leader even talked to my mom. That's how delusional these people get, is that they even have the nerve to tell your parents that they have no faith and that you should be in this opportunity, that you're missing this opportunity of a lifetime, whatever. So that's just like a little bit about that event, but it was moments like that. If that sounds crazy to you, like I have stories. It was moments like that made me realize like this is kind of weird. This isn't just like a thing I do on the side. Like this has become so intrusive into my life to the point where it's affecting my faith, it's affecting my family, it's affecting my health. I can't like this. And even at that point, I didn't leave. But I think that was the point where my eyes started opening up a little bit, and I started noticing the tactics just a little bit. I was still very much brainwashed. I still very much still listen to what my leader would tell me to do. But even after that, I was punished for not going on the trip. They would talk bad about me on calls to everybody in the business, which was 1,000 people, for missing that trip. That really could have affected my health. And then it's crazy because they came back and they were sick. A lot of people came back from that trip and were sick. So I dodged a bullet. I ended up finding out that I was pregnant in December 2020. And when I found out I was pregnant, Dante and we were at a loss for a lot of financial means, just because when you're in this business, yes, you're making money. For some of us, not everybody's making money, but for those of us who have a decent rank, we're making money. But the problem is that we're not keeping that money because we're spending it on flaunting like we're making money. So I'm spending money to look like I'm making money. I'm spending money to do things. I'm not saving my money. I'm not managing my money. There's no money management taught. You're spending the money you're making to make it look like you have money. And then in order to keep your rank or to get to another rank, they also teach you to pay for other people's accounts, sponsor accounts. Like I said, my account was sponsored. My leader, at the beginning of this video, I talked about how she sponsored my accounts. Well, same thing that I started doing for other people, because that's how you really rise in the company. That's a super quick way to get fast tracked. And they say you're not supposed to do that, but trust me, the leaders encourage you to do it. The leaders do it. I had leaders sponsor people on my business, top leaders in the company say, I'm going to give you $800, giving out $1,800 for you guys to build your businesses. So that's where a lot of my money also went to. So I started sponsoring people's accounts, started sponsoring their trading money, because I really did believe that we were going to make money and that this was going to be a way to financial freedom. I just got lost in it. You just get lost sometimes, especially when this is something that you're doing every day, all day. Yeah, so I found out that I was pregnant, and we were just not managing our money right. My business started slowly declining because I was burnt out. I was pregnant. I wasn't trying to call people every single day. I was also going through just this emotional whirlwind, because when you're pregnant, that's what happens. And I didn't have a job. That was my job. And Dante didn't have a job. That was his job. And we're still in the middle of COVID. So it's so much pressure. And the last thing you want to think about is building a business, keeping up with calling hundreds of people a day, and then expanding that, and then staying on those people's tails. And those people, it's holiday season for them. This is December. So they're like, Ciara, I'm trying to save up my money for Christmas. So the business just started crumbling, and more people were talking bad about IM. So then you have bad press. So you have people talking about how you're scammers. And so it was all of these things working against each other, till eventually the business just broke and it just failed. I am literally, in my opinion, I don't know if they're even people. I think that there are people who are still in it, but I feel like those people are very deceived. It's so sad, but I feel like it's so much smaller than it was back in 2020. We ended up leaving the business ultimately when we watched a Leah Remini Scientology film. We didn't think that we were necessarily in a cult or victims of a cult or victims of anything really. We just thought we knew that it was a bad situation. I actually had nightmares because for months after leaving the company, it was that bad because of my experiences with people and the things that the leaders would say to me. When we watched Leah Remini's Scientology documentary, that's when we really was just awoken to the things that were happening in the company and that they were not right. And that we were essentially in a cult, And so I'm going to start making some more videos about that, but that's just a brief overview of my experience. I'm going to go into more detail, some other videos. I really hope that this kind of gives you some insight. If you're in IM Academy, let me know your experience. You may be loving it, because at some point I was loving it. I have so many videos where I was pumping the mess out of this business. If there was anybody who was the IM advocate, it was me, because I grew so fast by promoting the heck out of that company. So I get it. But I do pray that if you're in it, that your eyes are open to know that a lot of the times people are taking an advantage of you because they're trying to get to that next level. And it doesn't mean that your leaders are intentionally manipulating you. They're just doing what they know and what was done to them, right? And done for what they learned. But at the end of the day, somebody's getting all this money paid because of people's dreams. Like, they're dream collectors, but they don't really fulfill everyone's dreams. Like, if everybody in IM was to become a millionaire, that'd be great. It'd be cool, but that's not true. Not everybody becomes a millionaire. Not everybody joins IM and becomes a thousandaire. Not everybody who joins IM even makes $100, makes anything. You can very easily lose all your money trading, flexing, paying for accounts. Like, you can lose your money so easily, just as we did. And we were actually being paid in the company. I don't say it's a scam based off of like you're not going to get education, because if you sit and watch the videos, there's a lot of ways to get education from the educators if you actually take the time to learn. But at the same time, that's not something that we promote. That's not something that even leaders encourage. Like, Dante and I encouraged it because we were traders. We were traders before I am. They don't want people to learn strategies. They don't want people to learn how to trade, because if people learn how to trade, then they're not going to be a part of the company. People join the company because they think that they're going to learn, and they're thinking in the meantime, while they're learning, they're going to be getting these signals, which are trade signals, that just text messages that tell you what trades to get into. So you're supposed to be making money while you're learning. They say earn while you learn, but really you're not learning because they're not teaching you. They really want you to focus on building the business. Like, that's what you're really going to be learning. Unless you sit and are very intentional about learning how to trade, you can learn. So I won't say that that's like the scam part of it. My biggest issue, and I guess Dante and I biggest issue, was the cultish part of it. It was like so intrusive into our lives. And they say that it's something that, you know, you can trade on the side, you can do this on the side, but you give them an inch and they take a mile. And it's not just something you do on the side. It's something that's going to consume your whole life, consume your relationships, ruin your relationships, ruin your life. I mean, it's really bad. I guess that's the bad part about it. Like, yeah, you can learn how to trade, but like, what's it worth? And they're really not encouraging you to learn how to trade. So if you really want to learn how to trade, just go on YouTube, y'all. Just please, for the love of God, like, learn from YouTube. And we used to make fun of people who learn from YouTube all the time, but it's funny because a lot of the educators who are on the platform, on IM's platform, learn from YouTube, and they admit it. Or you can actually see them teaching strategies that were on YouTube before they even started teaching those strategies. So you can learn from YouTube for free. And then they say, well, join the company for mentorship and guidance. But like, you can have a mentor or guidance. They're inexperienced, so they're not a mentor or guide, right? Like, I was calling myself a mentor after trading for a week or 2 weeks on the platform. I was like, oh, I'm a mentor. I was crazy, y'all. I was very, very delusional, and I'm still healing from that. But I just pray that y'all hear my story, that this was interesting to you, that it was an insight. I don't know if your experience is anything similar. Let me know in the comments below. I love you guys. I hate that my camera stopped working, but whatever. All right, subscribe to me if you want more videos about my experience in IM. I'll be sharing a few. This will be like a quick series. I'll have a series of videos that I'll share, but it'll definitely be good and pretty interesting, and just raising awareness for the tactics, because I was someone who perpetuated those tactics, so I know the tactics. So if you want to know the tactics, stay tuned, because I'll share those. I love you guys. Bye.